on one side. I don't know whether you're doing that. The regulations were issued. No, 50 kilometers apart. 50 kilometers apart on one side. I mean on one side. Now an opposite is supposed to be 1 kilometer. That's the requirement now. And that's your work. I've seen some newspapers saying that Minister of Energy is not doing its part. For us, the role of location of stations is the mandate of local government. We need to, that is very important. Now in local government there are also issues which are there. Right now you are required to have 2 committees of approval. There's supposed to be a physical planning committee and a building committee. I've realized that few local governments have put this in place. We receive plans stamped without development approval. We receive plans stamped without building permits. The physical planning committee is supervised by the physical planning board. So they have standards, which I've told you, which have been issued specifically for petroleum facilities. We are together. So 2 committees at local government. I want to move slowly on this slide so everybody understands its role. Physical planning committee to issue a development approval of development permit, saying that this site where it's located is in line with the physical planning map which was issued by the physical planning board. Then the other architecture aspects are handled by the structure, and the plans are handled by the building review, the building committee, which is supervised by the National Building Review Board. I'm sure you're aware of that from local government. And these committees should be in place by now. In fact, at our side, we have also amended accordingly our requirements. Previously, have been required to present approved plan. Now we require you to present to us a building permit in line with the National Building Review Board requirement. Now I go down to National Environmental Management Authority. This is known. They handle aspects of environment. For us, under petroleum downstream, we are required to do a detailed environmental impact assessment rather than a project brief, because the petrol has a serious impact on the environment. So they are required to do an environmental impact assessment, and these are done by registered practitioners by NEMA. Minister of Energy, what's our role? Our role are standards of petroleum facilities. For us, that's our mandate. When we are issuing the plan, the approval, we look at the standards. As my colleague did, we elaborate the standards required. Basically, we check, this person, first of all, does he have sufficient land for this facility? The minimum size required now is 30 meters by 30 meters for a petrol station. Either a service station or a filling station, that's the size we require, minimum. But you can buy an acre. I've seen stations which are constructed on an acre. But minimum is 30 meters by 30 meters. Frontage, the front side. It's a must. It must be 30 meters. That's a must. The other one, you can have 30 meters in front, then the other one is 30 meters. That's the requirement, minimum. The other aspect is the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development. This basically handles the issues of occupational health and safety. Every plan must have that stamp. Aspects of occupational health, safety are handled by that ministry. UNRA, that's Uganda National Authority, issues to do with access. Any station on major access roads, main roads, you are supposed to seek approval from UNRA. And usually nowadays they require you to do a traffic assessment report. before they issue the approval. That's it. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, these are basically, I told you the stages of approval are two, are three. This is for somebody who intends to construct a petroleum facility. It can be a depot, a fuel depot, it can be a petrol station, it can be an installation for LPG, name it. So these are, we have a standard form. You can upload the form from that website, or you can get a physical form from our offices. But we intend to have a web-based site specifically for application of applications of these licenses. So once it's done, before the year ends, we are going to have, you don't need to move from Fortportal to come to Kampala and bring your application. Our intention is to have this thing to be easily done at where somebody is located. So we shall advise you in due course of this year, once the system is done. So once you have that form, you fill it, but you make some attachments. These are the attachments required. Of course, one of the requirements is you have to possess land. We are going to construct this installation, And I've already advised you, you need to have minimum 30 meters for a station, a fueling station. You need to have these plans approved by local authority. I've already advised you that this is handled at local authority. You need to present us a building permit. I've already advised you on why we need it now. You need to present us an environmental impact assessment certificate by National Environmental Management Authority. You need to show us the business plan, how you intend to do it, whether you have done some feasibility study, or you are just doing for the sake, because you have seen X is doing the same business, you're also doing it. This one we can issue it to an individual, but if you're a company, you have to present those company registration details from Uganda Registration Service Bureau. We require you to present us a URA TIN number for you to use to pay the fees which are to be assessed. You present also bill of quantities or project costs. Now we have got some challenges here. Some people have been under declaring the project costs because this is the basis for us. The fees you are going to pay to government, URA. And in this case, what we usually do is once you under declare, because we have figures, we know station cannot cannot be below, for example, 600 million. Then somebody says my station is going to cost about 200 million. So what you usually do is to engage a private valuer at your cost. So it's better you be honest and then you give us the actual figures. Now, of course, we present also passport photos for traceability. If there are issues of criminality, we are able to trace you. We inspect the site and make evaluation report. Based on that, we approve or disapprove. Of course, as I said, there are fees applicable. For a petroleum facility construction permit, we subject you to a 0.1% of the project cost, project total cost. For example, if a project is just 500 million, you just pay a minimum of 500,000 Uganda shillings. So that's just 0.1%. Time was 500 million, it gives you 500,000 Uganda shillings. So you can see that's a very minimum fee. Next is once the site is constructed, you alert us that my site is constructed as per the standards. But they require you to buy also the copy of standards from UNBs to make assurance that you make reference to those standards. You are constructing a station as per the standards. A canopy has a standard. I've seen a canopy which has my height. That's not a canopy. So the standard has a canopy has a standard. I've seen somebody saying he has an interceptor which receives all garbage from the station. That's not an interceptor. There are standards. Dean is going to give us those details, but their standards will follow. So once you tell us your station is ready to receive products, we check whether your station really meets our standards. And you have to present to us these things. One of the requirements is, of course, the permit, the construction permit you have issued. You are under stage 1, I've shown you before. We also require you to present us a report, an engineer's report, by certified engineer. Certified engineer. And this should collaborate with the one who is registered on the building permit. Because the building permit is issued by an engineer who is going to do the works. So first of all, it should be certified. And then it should give us that report, so that he owns the works. If there are issues, because they have an association also, when he presents a fake report, we report him to the association and is delicensed. So basically we require that report from a certified engineer. Also required to do a pressure test report for the tanks, because these tanks are underground. Now if there are issues or leakages, we need to be assured that these tanks are well done and they are done from good materials. Now once they are underground, the possibility of leaking is there. So we require you to do a linkage test report, a detection report, to confirm that these tanks are not leaking. We have some instances, I think it was in Sinjuro, where somebody had a station, I won't mention a company. Now this station was linked for some good years, until people were downstream, there was a valley somewhere, they saw smell of oil. Now people in that area started rejoicing that they have discovered oil in that locality. Now our minister instructed our department, our state department of upstream, to go and investigate. I'm sure that thing was in papers some time back. To investigate, find out whether they had they had fuel. I mean, they had crude in that locality. So we dispatched a team, including part of our technical team also dispatched alongside. So when we looked around, these were spills. Upstream, there was a station. When we checked around, we told this man, what is the problem? The leakage should be coming from this direction. Do you know what he tells us? I've been, suspending, sacking managers of a station that have been stealing fuel for the last 2 years. Sacking, one coming, another coming. Then later he probably was saying, maybe there's a ghost at this station. So you can imagine. So the issue of leakage detection is very important. So you can imagine the level of destruction that station did to that locality. He was made to remove the tanks at his cost, even to recover, to pay for the destruction he made to the environment. So basically it's very key. This helps both of us. Fuel is money. But to a practitioner, you lose a little of fuel, you're losing money. It's an investment. So basically it helps both of us, to the environment and even you to the business person. Then that site engineer should also provide us a practicing certificate, which is issued by the Engineers Registration Board. Also, it provides us with the calibration charts for the tanks, which should be certified by Uganda National Bureau of Standards. My colleague will also take few issues to do with meteorology, weights and measures. So basically, this helps us to protect the consumers. Somebody asks for a liter, is given a quarter liter. Somebody asks 20 liters, is given 15 liters or 19 liters. So that's why we require you to confirm that these tanks are really calibrated, to know the volumes you are down and what you are delivering to the customers. Also, not to waste money, we require you to provide with the colored photos. Some photos, 4 photos. So that before I dispatch my team, I don't waste taxpayers' money. When visibly I'm seeing the station doesn't meet the standards. I'm seeing a canopy as short as my height, not my boss. No. So once I see that the canopy is too short, of course I don't waste people to come and inspect the site. I just tell you, this station does not meet the standards. As simple as that. Next. Now, once we have issued you with the completion certificate, now we're having also license we issue out. Now this from importation That's somebody who's bringing products from out of the country. In Kenya, is importing the country. We just give you a license, an operating license. Exportation, pipeline transportation. We don't have any pipeline transportation at the moment. Then these trucks who transport petroleum products, they're also supposed to issue them a license. Somebody who has a depot that indicates he's storing petroleum products is also required to have a license for storage. Somebody selling in bulk, and of course station for the petrol stations. And industrial consumers, these are bulk consumers. Somebody has got a station, and I mean somebody has got a factory, is having an installation of diesel for his own trucks, is also required to have a license for own use. Processing is value addition. There are a number of breeding plants nowadays who are involved in making lubricants. So that processing is also required to have a license. The procedure is the same. There's a form which you upload from that website. You can also get a physical copy from our offices. And then those are the requirements. Basically, just in a nutshell, what is required? This one is issued a company. And you have to give us company registration details from Ugandan Registration Service Bureau. If it's a foreign company, you have to show us a license from Uganda Investment Authority. If the company has been operating for some time doing other businesses, you have to show us tax clearance certificate from Uganda Revenue Authority. Then remember I discussed about the 10 days stock requirement. So you need to show us that you have access to a third-party depot if you are an importer and if you are a seller. But for a station, already have shown us you have tanks underground, so that one is not a requirement for somebody asking for a retail station, for a retail license. Now you have to give us also a business plan to show us you are really how you are going to shed your business, how you are going to source your product, issues of environment, how you are going to handle them, and other aspects. For a station existing, you have to give us an audit, environment audit, to show whether you have been complying and if the mitigation methods you put in place when you are doing an EIA are still doing their work. Of course, the completion certificate which has been issued before, you attach it, then you apply for that license. Next. Others are supply agreement, where you're going to source your product. If you're running a station, independent is required to show us where it's going to source this product. If the team of fuel marking come to trace where you bought your product from, they're able to trace. If you are being supplied by Starbucks, you should have those documentation that you are being supplied by Starbucks, and then we get to know. So you have to attach that requirement also. Then you have to give us also bank reference letter showing that you have money to do the business. We intend not to give people who are bankrupt to do business in the field, because you need to have serious cash to do the business. Now also require you to give us passport photos for traceability. If there are issues of elements of criminality, we are able to trace you. We do evaluation and inspect the site where applicable, and then we approve or disapprove the application. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, there are fees applicable, and they are as shown. If you intend to do business importation of your products, you pay 3 million. That's to URA, and this is paid after approval. So this money doesn't go to the department, it goes to URA. Now we pay 3 million, and the license is valid for 10 years. Exportation, you pay 1 million, valid for 10 years. For retail station, those who are doing the retailing of your petroleum products, it's 1 million for 5 years. Wholesaling, those selling in bulk, is 0.5 million for 5 years. Then storage is 3 million, 10 years. Up to surface. But for retail station, I want to be specific that this is for each station, not for all stations. So you have to pay 1 million for each station. If you have 5 stations, that's 5 million. But it's valid for 5 years. It's okay? So all the others are there, as you have seen. The permit, I've told you, it was 0.1% of the total project costs. And the validity of the permit is 5 years. So you have to construct that site or that station within the 5 years period. Next, we have challenges. Of course, as any government entity, we face challenges. One is understaffing. We are understaffed. I think government is working on restructuring the public service sector, but right now we are understaffed. We are about to 5 in the department. We are supposed to license the entire country. Of course, limited budget. What we put in, although we are generating a lot of money to the consolidated fund, what we put in is not what you get. So basically, that's a challenge. So, and our work is really field-based. So we need to move all over the country. We need fuel. People need to get per diem to move. Then the other aspects, people have been saying they are not aware of licensing regime. That has been an excuse, but it's no longer an excuse. I've been in Fortportal, this I think the 10th time. So there's no excuse that somebody is not aware. Everybody is aware. That's why we have full swing enforcement now. In fact, we are doing full swing enforcement. We are no longer having excuses that I'm not aware. We have done enough awareness countrywide. The other aspect are the standards. We are also having a challenge. People are not aware of standards. This one has also been done. We have done sensitization on standards. We are also moving all alongside as we are doing sensitization. Issues of standards are being sensitized. So it's also no longer an issue. Now we also lack collaborations with some stakeholders, some local government, but those ones who have not attended today are the ones who are not collaborative. But you people, you have been helpful, we have been very supportive, and we're very glad for that. Thank you very much. I think that's all I have. That's my presentation, basically. Thank you very much. I wait for your comments, questions, anytime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deason. At this moment, I'll invite Dean to give us a presentation with regard to the standards. He has given us, informed us how we enter the business, those who are planning to enter the business, and how the local authorities are involved. Now let's look at the standards which we use in the enforcement. Dean, you are welcome.
Good morning once again. Once again, my name is Dean Tashovia, in charge of standards in the downstream department at the ministry. So I will just trigger you as we start. At least one of you is putting on a shirt or a trouser or a t-shirt or a dress. Okay? When you are buying, how do you know that it is the right product? You go for a brand. You just buy a brand. Even if you find your shirt is like Kavera, you just buy. So what the labels you see on your cloth, they are not there by mistake. Okay? They are there because it's a requirement. If it is a size, if it is 100% cotton, if it is like that. Okay? So those are the specifications that are required. But in terms of the fuel and the stations, it's a different way of representing them. We can move. So we are going to look at what are standards, how are they made, why, and what are the processes in developing them, and how do you access them. Okay? Does any of the stations here have these standards? Anyone? Have you seen how they look like? No one. You need to have. Continue. You can move. Continue. So, in other words, these are tuyinza okukiyita endagiriro that gives you direction. Okay? Nti bw'oba olina essaati eno saati ya size mmeka, Okay, nti bw'oba olina station oyagala kuteeka mu station plot erina okuba enkana ki. So ezo specification requirements. Okay, ate nekuwa how do you build a station, nti ogenda kugikola mu concrete. Okay, so it gives you the specifications which gives you the limits, and again how do you build it, in what material. Okay, you cannot get banana fibers and build a station, isn't it? That's why they specify use cement, use gravel and so on. Okay, so move. So those are some of the products, the equipment and the infrastructure which we look at, and all these things have standards. Okay, they are part of the downstream, whatever you see here, and those standards you can access through UNBS. You can go to their website and buy direct, send your mobile money and they will give you these standards. Today we are looking at the stations and whatever is sold at the stations, especially fuel. Continue. So standards can be different levels. You can have company standards, you can have organization standards, you can have national standards, you can have regional standards. When we go to regional, we are looking at let's say East African community. When we are looking at national, we are looking at a country like Uganda. When we are looking at the international level, we are looking at global. Okay, all countries see it and they agree on one standard. Yeah. So why do we develop these standards? Just imagine that there is no order and you can build your station anyhow. Okay, you will find some have one pump, some have two pumps, some have in just a 50 by 100, another one is in a 50 by 50 plot, isn't it? Okay, so standards are here to set uniformity. Okay, uniformity within the sector, having the same process of achieving something. Okay, then they are here to limit or mitigate the risks. Okay, the risks can be to health and safety, and they can also be to the environment. As we saw that tanks can leak. If they leak within the soil and you have your garden there, what happens? Okay, that will be contamination, isn't it? So if some of you have the water wells below in the downstream, so you will be drinking that. So you need to be careful when you are setting up those things. Then there is the issue of promoting. Okay, because if it's not fair, then isn't it? You can million and I invest that in your promote alteration. So make sure okay.